Biometric expressions. As soon as I released this product, I heard back from people using it. It seems it's both a very powerful tool for achieving realistic expressions for your character meshes, and also a very easy way to make them look crazy and distorted, especially if you don't know how to use it. So I created this tutorial to show you, the Biometric Expressions user, just how to get the most out of this tool. Let's dive right in. Here we are in DAZ, and I've created a scene with a few characters loaded into it, although the only one you can see right now is this base Genesis 3 character. I'm going to start here with the base Genesis 3 character because this was the base figure used to develop the product. And then I'll show you a few other characters with varying different face shapes to show you how you can properly adapt the tool to a wide range of your characters. Oh, a quick side note. I did include one-click buttons for all the expressions, including top and bottom divisions. And you can use these if you're in a hurry, or if you find they work well for what you're trying to do, or they look good on your character. But if you want really spectacular results with this product, you need to use the sliders. Oh no, I hear some of you saying, not the sliders! Don't worry, it's so easy to do, you'll get the hang of it in no time at all. Now, here's what you're used to when you add an expression to a character in DAZ. Something like what you see here. I'm just using the default smile slider that comes with every character in DAZ. This is included. As I move that slider, you can see it attempts to add a smile to this character's face. Now, no offense to DAZ or any of the people who make or have made expression sets out there, but this is just not what a person's face does when they smile. When a real person's face smiles, the whole structure of the face responds and moves, often in tiny and subtle ways. The cheeks rise and plump slightly, the eyes crinkle and change shape depending on the intensity of the smile. Even the corners of the lips move in subtle ways. In fact, there are literally hundreds of individual movements taking place in the various structures of the face during any given facial expression. Just look in the mirror while you smile, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It will not look like this. So, back to the sliders. You'll find the sliders for biometric expressions under the base figure's pose controls. So make sure you have your base figure selected. Come down here to pose controls, click on that, and you'll find them right at the top usually. If you have other stuff or a particularly large library, you can search for them here by entering BE, and that'll usually find them straight away. I'll just start here with one at the top. This is Bright Smile. As I move Bright Smile, you can see already there's a difference from the smile slider that's in the expressions. Now the entire face is engaging. You can instantly see that this is a more genuine looking expression. Because now the morphs are working together with the pose controls, and the result is light years ahead of a standard pose that doesn't include morphs. I'm going to switch to the rendered view here. And we can see the result is much more natural. The cheeks have engaged, there's still folds under the eyes, the angle of the nasolabial folds has changed, the nostrils have flared slightly, the shape of the lip and the frenulum has changed. We've pushed Genesis 3 to its maximum and morphed it as well as posed it. And this is how we get a realistic smile. Now, moving the slider for Bright Smile all the way to 100% is no different than coming over here and clicking the one-click button for Bright Smile. So, why use the sliders? Well, not only can you dial in gradations of the same smile, but you can combine sliders together. Here's an example of how combining these sliders can result in something special. So let's come down here and take the slider for warm natural smile. And we're just going to dial it all the way up to 100%. Now, it's a great relaxed smile, looks good, but maybe it doesn't fit your character's story. Maybe you like the mouth, the smile's right, but the eyes aren't right. Maybe they're a little too relaxed. You want some more pep, a bit more animation in there, a different feeling to this smile. So let's move the smile slider back to 0 and move the bottom slider for the same smile to 100. Now there's the slider. I'm going to switch to rendered view. And there you go. It's looking better. The eyes are a bit peppier. But maybe we want just a little more pep and a little more animation. So let's combine it with the top slider of, say, simple smile. And we'll move that. Let's do it all the way to 100. There, that's got a bit more engagement in the smile. I like this smile. It's a bright, happy little smile. And we've just created a smile by combining these sliders that doesn't exist in the list that came here with the product. Now, another thing to understand about these sliders is that they don't just mix and match at different levels, they also accumulate. And this is where the expressions we're creating can go from great to amazing. For instance, let's take this slider for delighted smile, which you see here, and move it all the way up to 100%. Now, this looks good. It's a nice expression of happiness mixed with delight. But if I leave this slider set at 100% and then grab the same smile's bottom slider and start edging that up, look what happens. It starts adding even more of the same bottom posing and morphs to the existing smile, which is already set at 100%. It's accumulating, and the smile is becoming wider and more, I don't know, powerful. Let's set that at around 60%. Now it's not so much that she's smiling, she's beginning to look like she's laughing. And let's say I want even more delight in her eyes. Well, you guessed it. I can grab the same, we're still on the same smile. All of this is delighted smile, and I can move delighted smile top up. Let's say about maybe around 50. Now look at that. We've generated an entirely original smile by using all 3 sliders of the same expression. She's definitely happy about something. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe she just saw her cat play the piano. That would definitely made me smile. Okay. Well, this should show you now. Maybe you were thinking that when you purchased Biometric Expressions, you were only getting 11 measly expressions of happiness and joy. And it's probably becoming clear to you now that what you really got was a tool for accurately simulating the facial movements made during expressions of happiness and joy, and a tool that will allow you to create far more than you thought. So get in there, play with these sliders, get a feel for what each one does, how it moves the face, and then mix them, match them, add them on top of each other. Next, I want to go over another way that these expressions can be modified. So we're going to create a quick expression of laughter. We'll just grab, let's do joyful natural smile. And we're going to set that at about somewhere around there. 70, 71. Okay, next we'll mix in a little joyful surprise. And maybe about 40. Yeah, right about there or so. That looks good. Now I want to widen the smile a bit, and nothing does that better than bright smile, but I'm going to use bright smile's bottom so it doesn't change my eyes. Let's say about about there or so. Yeah, now that looks pretty good. She's definitely laughing at something, but maybe we want to open her mouth a bit more so it looks like she's laughing even harder. Now your first instinct might be to reach for one of the mouth opening pose controls. But instead of doing that, here's an even better way to make modifications. And what I'm about to show you works not only for biometric expressions, but for lots of other expression sets that you might already own. So it's a great tip all around. Instead of grabbing the pose controls, come down here into the pose controls for your head and find this category, visemes. What visemes are is the shape our mouths make when we make certain sounds while talking. And this is important because what sound do we make when we're laughing? Ha. Ha, ah, ah. It's an ah sound. So if I move this viseme slider for ah, you can see it opens her mouth in a realistic, natural way. And now she's really laughing. I don't know what she's laughing at, but she is really laughing now. Maybe she's no longer laughing with us, she's laughing at us. Now let's take a quick look at fitting the expressions to characters with significantly different facial structures than the base Genesis 3 figure. Here we have everyone's favorite model, Victoria 7. Victoria 7 is significantly different from Genesis 3. She's got a delicate, small face with unusual lip and mouth shape, a deeper mouth line, and a smaller jaw and chin. She's so much different that I briefly considered giving her her own set of biometric expressions. But during product testing, it became clear that it just wasn't necessary. Anyone using the sliders to tweak the expressions could adjust them to any of the minifigures we tried with a minimum of effort. Just remember that not every character's face is ideally suited for an extreme expression. Think about it. Could you imagine one of Angelina Jolie's smiles on Kate Micucci's face? No, it would look ridiculous. But that's what happens when you try to use biometric expressions at 100% on Genesis 3 characters with delicate, small faces and unusual mouth shapes. The key is to make much smaller adjustments because with these types of characters, like Victoria 7, less is more. So let's give Victoria here a nice smile, shall we? We can see right away that if we try to apply, say, bright smile to 100%, that it's just simply too much, especially if we turn to the side here. We can see that it's distorted the shape of her face. There's too much pinching around the corners of the mouth. Instead, let's set it to, say, about 50, right about there, 58. Now that's better. Now maybe we'll mix in a bit of warm natural smiles bottom. Let's say 26% or so. I usually just watch as I'm doing it to see how it looks. Now that looks great. All right, switch to rendered view. And look at that. Now she's got a smile that suits her delicate face. That's lovely. Now let's make her laugh. Just going to return these sliders to their default settings. Alright, let's nudge the delighted smile slider up, watching as we go to see if it's a bit too much. It doesn't look too bad. Even at 100%, that's good. Okay, great. Now, let's mix in a bit of bright smiles bottom. And let's say about maybe about there, 28, 29%. Okay, looking good. But she's not quite laughing as fully as she could be. So you guessed it, our old friend, the Vizim slider. And I'm just going to go over here, and I'm going to grab and there we go. I can push that all the way to 100 if I want. And there, she's laughing boisterously. And the smile works on her delicate face. Lastly, here's one of my favorite Genesis 3 characters, one I use all the time and just love, Niarai, by the very talented Cyaness. She's about as unusual as you can get, and the polar opposite of the delicate face of Victoria 7, with her strong jaw, assertive chin, wide cheekbones, full lips, large mouth. I chose her for that exact reason, because I want to show you what you do with a character that's the opposite, in the other direction of Genesis 3. Now, despite being the polar opposite to Victoria 7, pretty much the same rules and principles apply. You'll use the sliders to adjust till it looks right, and then combine together for different variations. In fact, with characters like Niarai, you may find that often more is true more than less is more. For instance, let's grab this joyful natural smile slider and slide it all the way to 100%. That already looks great. In fact, I'll switch to render view so you can see it. That already looks great, but what if we grab Joyful Natural Smiles bottom and nudge that up even further to, let's say, maybe 58. Look at that, even better. It just goes to show that adjustments that would have absolutely destroyed Victoria 7's delicate face look wonderful on Niarai's strong one. Finally, a quick word about this slider here, the laughter slider. It became quickly apparent after release that I would have done better to name this slider hysterical side-splitting laughter or something like that, because a lot of people were just clicking hopefully with fingers crossed on the one-click-fits-all button. There we go. Thinking that this was their only option for creating a laughing expression. After watching this tutorial, you know that's not true. In reality, at 100%, this slider depicts a person in the absolute throes of laughter, and it's a very strong adjustment, and won't be suitable at maximum settings for delicate characters, even though it looks just fine on Niarai here. Many characters will need less, and then it's just a matter of using the top slider to close the eyes as you see fit. So, to show you what I mean, I'm just going to restore it. Face here. And I'm going to grab this laughter slider. If I push that, let's say 80 or so, and then use laughter top, I can close the eyes a bit more. So to recap, if you want to really use biometric expressions as it is intended, ditch the buttons and use the sliders. Get a feel for what each expression does and try combining them together. Remember, the sliders are cumulative, and this gives you the power to push them beyond their limits when combining. Lastly, use vizzines to add small final adjustments to your expressions. Well, that's all. Get out there and make some amazing renders. And stay tuned for the next edition of Biometric Expressions, where we'll be screaming in terror, yelling battle cries, and getting ready to fight.